Hey guys, it's Francis, and I don't know if many of you know this, but in my regular life, my profession, I'm a speech language pathologist. So I work with a lot of children with autism. So I wanted to do an autism awareness look this week for sure, as this is Autism Awareness Month. And I started off with a base coat, and then I have one coat of this Wet n Wild on my pinky, not my pinky, my ring and my thumb. And on the rest of my nails, I have this Sally Hansen in Prompt Blue. I also have a fast dry top coat because I needed to dry really, really quickly and be really, really dry for this next step. I'm cutting off these pieces of striping tape, and I have it in this regular tape dispenser, although I don't know, I love how that looks. And I went ahead and I cut out enough pieces for all my nails. On my ring and my thumb, I'm doing this same design, and I'm going to put one piece of striping tape down the middle like this to split my nail in half. And I want to make sure that that's centered very perfectly. And then I'm going to still keep centering. And then I'm going to come in with another piece across the side. I want to split this. Did I say in half? I meant in fourths. So I'm going to do this for my ring finger as well as for my thumb. I told you I have one coat of the white on here, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It is pretty streaky actually. It's just going to help the other colors that I put on top of it pop. And I want to make sure that I come in and press down around the edges so nothing's lifting up. And on my blue nails, I'm going to do a single puzzle piece. So I need to block off a kind of square shape in the middle of the nail. And I decided that I want the puzzle pieces at an angle, so I'm going to go ahead and angle the striping tape when I do this. And like I said, you want to make sure that you push down at the edges so that the paint doesn't go underneath it when you come on top of it. And I decided to go ahead and block off my entire hand before I started coming in with the paint. And surprisingly enough, guys, I don't know if you noticed this, but none of the design this week is actually stamping. Or none of this design. I'm sure I will have another design this week, but none of this particular design has any stamping. So one of the only design actually on my channel that doesn't have any stamping in it so far. So I'm going to come in with a finger paints polish, two Sally Hansen polishes, and an Essie polish for my design. And I will link them all below or list them all below for you in case you're interested. But I'm going for a dark blue, a light blue, and a yellow and a red. And then I'm going to put on my yellow first, and it wanted to bleed in the corner. And I need to be really careful trying to stay within the parameters of that tape. And the red wanted to bleed a little bit too. But I'm trying very carefully. And any mistakes that I make can actually be cleaned up. I used an orange wood stick to kind of scrape some of that off. And then I just went over the top of it with the lighter blue. Since this blue is pretty sheer, I needed to go over it with a little bit extra. But this is why I wanted the white coat underneath, to try and help those other colors pop, especially the yellow and the blue. If I had to do this again, I would pick definitely more opaque yellow and blue. This blue polish is the same one that I used on the other nails, and it's almost a one coater. So before any of this dries, you want to come in and pull off the striping tape. I use just regular tweezers to do this, and make sure that you know which ones you put on first. So if you laid down, whichever tape you laid down second is the first one you're going to pull up, or else you'll make a huge mess. So I got a little bit of some boo-boos around here. I can come in with an orange wood stick, and then later I'll come in with some acetone as well to do some cleanup. But I have to be really careful here because there is white striping that's left behind. You definitely don't want to bleed the colors into one another or bleed it into that white. So I'm just going to come over here, like I said, and touch up a little bit for some of the boo-boos that I did make. And this is not going to be perfect, but it's definitely fixable. This is what you're left with. And you have 4 different colors. And then on my other nails, this is my pinky nail, I'm just going to use the brush that came in the bottle and very carefully, very gently put the paint in that little square that I've marked off. Just making sure to get all the corners before I pick it up. It's very thick polish at this point. Like I said, I would pick a more opaque yellow next time. And just like I said, before it dries, I want to go ahead and lift off as much as possible. Lift it up as quickly as possible, rather. And I don't know if you can see that there. You can definitely see it. There's a little piece of leftover tape for whatever reason, but luckily it peeled off pretty easily a little bit later when I finally saw it. You guys are up close and personal. It's harder for me to see that from a distance. You see why you have to pull up the tape really quickly? It was almost too dry. So now I'm coming in with a cleanup brush and some acetone, and I'm just going to clean up around the edges. I need to be really careful here too because I don't want those colors to bleed into one another, especially that red. That red wanted to bleed into other colors so badly when I hit it with acetone. So every single time that I'm coming in cleaning off, I'm dipping my brush back into the acetone and I'm dipping off onto a napkin or a paper towel right there so that I am not bleeding that yellow because it will get all over the red and that light blue. I did not speed this up on purpose so you guys could see exactly how slowly I was going to clean this up so I didn't make a huge mess. And I'm being really particular here, but I just want to come around and clean up. Okay, so now I've got them all, and I'm going to come in and add the intersecting, oh, I'm going to come in, actually, I'm sorry, and fix up a boo-boo that I had there. Some of the paint got around the edges, and I'm just coming in with that base color and covering it up. And then once you hit it with a clear coat, you will never know the difference. It will just kind of blend into one another. So now I got all the makings of my puzzle pieces down, and I'm coming in with a dotting tool and just adding dots so it looks like the puzzle pieces are intersecting. And I'm going to try and overlap them so each puzzle piece will get an intersecting piece, if that makes any sense at all. I'm going with the yellow first, and then I will come in with the red. And then with that dark blue. And of course, with the light blue. And I will do the very same thing on my thumbnail. I'm not going to show you guys, but it's the exact same thing I'm going to do on my thumbnail. And now for the individual pieces, I'll decide whether I want them to be, there'll be different types of puzzle pieces. So for this particular piece, I'm going to put an intersecting piece on the top and then spaces with the darker color where the other pieces would intersect into that. I hope that makes sense. It's probably easier to see than it is to explain. But I can shape the puzzle pieces differently. And for the yellow, I went in a different direction. And now I'm going to come in with a fast dry top coat here. And I'm going to do just like I would do with stamping. And I'm going to put a very generous dollop of that fast dry top coat. And I'm not going to go over any one section more than once because I do not want to smear this polish. I also gave it about 10 minutes before I actually put on the top coat so I didn't smear anything. And here's my final design. Thank you guys so much for watching and spending your time with me, and I will see you again next time. Bye.